Coming to you live from the basement of the guy's house that records this, the Dryline Farmer presents Basement Level News, starting now.
Good afternoon. I'm Scooter McGee. In the U.S. legislature, Congresswoman Grace Mean, a Democrat from New York, has introduced a new bill entitled the Menstrual Equity for All Act that seeks to help women and girls afford and gain access to needed menstrual products. The bill has significant bipartisan support from both parties, especially from the all-male caucus, where the bill is referred to as President Biden made a Kennedy-esque speech this week when he called for scientists to cure cancer by the end of the decade. In related news, Snoop Dogg demanded by the end of this decade there be, quote, no more bitches. Government officials in New York are facing increasing criticism on the recently instituted no bail law, where most people arrested for even the most violent crimes are being released from jail almost immediately without having to post a bond. You may remember this was last tried in 1984 when EPA Inspector Walter Peck let all of those ghosts out of the Ghostbusters Ghost Containment Unit. Even amidst the criticism directed toward the local government, nearly all of the incumbents of New York City have continued to manage re-election, which just goes to show you New Yorkers love crime. In response to the growing crime wave in New York, Mayor Eric Adams has ordered that police officers shall refrain from congregating and even talking to one another while out on patrol. Not surprisingly, the police union brushed back the order as they argued that lots of talking helped to drown out all the crime. In its ongoing effort to slash ozone pollution, California is working to become the first U.S. state to phase out fossil-fueled furnaces and water heaters by 2030. The proposal was unanimously approved by the California Air Resources Board on Thursday. Also included in the proposal is a mandate that by 2031, every Californian will be required to kick themselves in the nuts. The daylight savings time debate is back at it, and many states are wanting to permanently keep daylight savings time year-round. This is especially true in New York, as many of the criminals were heard saying, "Oh great, now we'll have extra time to do more crime." Mike Lindell, the MyPillow chief and ally to former President Donald Trump, is under federal investigation for conspiring to damage a protected computer connected to a suspected voting equipment security breach in Colorado. Lindell was surrounded in a Hardee's parking lot by the FBI while he was waiting for his food order. In related news, Michael Moore was seen leading Michigan police on a high-speed chase through his hometown. During the chase, police made several attempts to apprehend the movie director as he staged multiple standoffs at a McDonald's, Burger King, Pizza Hut, and Golden Corral. Moore continues to elude police and is considered to be armed and fat. Dr. Mehmet Oz came in for some mockery after old tweets resurfaced Saturday from the former television host discussing bowel movements. The tweets were from Oz's career as a television doctor, but appear to have been migrated to his U.S. Senate campaign Twitter account. Oz is now running 2 points behind his challenger John Fetterman, which once again just goes to show you shit-talking will get you nowhere. At the foreign desk, Swedish and Finnish troops conducted war exercises with the United States in which the Scandinavian forces defeated the American troops in a mock battle. When President Biden was asked about the incident, he was quoted as saying, "Damn, I thought this thing was for real." In Germany, Chancellor Olaf Scholz faces criticism from nearly every side as he fails to distance himself from Palestinian supporters who claim that Israel is guilty of, quote, 50 holocausts. His detractors have gained a lot of sympathy and are being heard chanting the slogan, "Your chancellor is so fat he faces criticism from all sides." In space news, NASA has identified the 13 regions at the moon's south pole where it would like to land astronauts as part of its Artemis program. Among the names listed are Nobile Rims 1 and 2 and Faustini Rims A and B. If successful, the mission will go down in the record books as one of the most expensive rim jobs in history. Scientists tasked with taking on the challenge of global warming are proposing a radical idea of trying to dim the sun's radiation. A new proposal of launching an artificial particle shield high into the atmosphere is theorized to help reduce the sun's high output before it reaches the surface, thereby lowering the Earth's global temperature. The proposal has several members and are excited by the new project leader, Dr. Evil. New evidence that exposure to air pollution can potentially contribute to obesity in women has emerged from a study by the University of Michigan. Women in their late 40s and early 50s exposed to long-term air pollution, specifically higher levels of fine particles, nitrogen dioxide, and ozone, saw increases in their body size and composition measures. In addition to the fine particles, larger particles in the atmosphere have also been found to contribute to the female obesity problem, most notably Twinkies. Christian influencer Emma Antebellum proudly announced on TikTok that she recently got breast implants which are filled with holy water. Emma told her fans that she was inspired to get breast implants while reading 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20. The passage states, "Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit? Therefore honor God with your bodies." It should be noted that Emma was reciting from the New International Version translation, whereas the Clubhouse Party translation relayed the passage as simply saying, "Go fetch thee some fake titties." In maritime news, a sailboat was severely damaged when a number of killer whales began to ram the hull of the boat from all sides and spinning it 180 degrees. Up to now, scientists have assumed that only a few whales are involved in these encounters and that they are all from the same pod, or as we like to call it here above the surface, fish gangs. In Nottingham, England, a heroic cat in the UK saved his owner's life by pounding his paws on her chest to wake her up after she suffered a heart attack in her sleep. Sam Felsteed, 42, was asleep when she was woken by her 7-year-old cat Billy at 4:30 a.m. When reached for comment, the cat was quoted as saying, "I would have let the old bag die, but I noticed I was getting low on Meow Mix." Following her recovery in hospital, Felsteed returned to give her side of the story. "I was a bit shocked. I went to bed and I felt fine. Suddenly I woke up in the early hours covered in sweat and couldn't move. Billy was on my chest and was meowing loudly in my ear hole." Which just goes to show you, when you're low on food, just scream into somebody's ear hole. Troy Aikman is under fire following a controversial remark uttered on the Monday Night Football broadcast of the Chiefs-Raiders game. While discussing a questionable roughing the passer call in the first half, Aikman remarked, "My hope is that the competition committee looks at this in the next set of meetings. And, we take the dresses off." After hearing of the incident, President Biden was seen heading straight to the competition committee's dressing room. Age is just a number to Joan Collins, and her number is still 40. The eternally glamorous Grand Dame of Hollywood, who is preparing to celebrate her 90th birthday next spring, insists that she still thinks of herself as, quote, "a 40-year-old woman." In a new interview, the Dynasty legend and veteran of more than 70 films also says she does not notice the 33-year age gap between herself and fifth husband Percy Gibson. When her husband was asked if he noticed the 33-year age gap, He was quoted simply as saying, God, yes. Gary Busey has been charged with 4 counts of sexual contact and harassment at a New Jersey fan convention last weekend. Busey, 78, had no comment other than to be, quote, seen smiling like an idiot. And finally, in entertainment news, Oscar winning actress Jennifer Lawrence has announced that she is having nightmares. Lawrence said it all started when she saw a clip of a Tucker Carlson program clip. In addition to the Carlson nightmares, Lawrence has also reported to have terrifying nightmares involving her grandma, vanilla pudding, and Winnie the Pooh. And from all of us here at a title that we will later decide what to call it, I'm Scooter McGee. Thanks for joining us.